Mr. Jan Giordano, you want to step up front? Next, we would like to welcome Aaron Flynn and Aaron Flynn. What did I say? Jan Giordano, you want to step up front?
Aaron and Eric.
Next, we would like to welcome Aaron Flynn and
Aaron. Good evening, Eric. Thank you very much for coming. This is Domestic Violence Abuse Awareness Month. So I have a little statement here that just gives a little bit of history about SARC in Harford County. Sexual Assault Spouse Abuse Resource Center, SARC, provided life-saving resources to 2,051 people last year. Its 28-bed shelter provided 6,380 bed nights to 128 community residents. SARC's legal staff were successful in obtaining protective orders 83% of the time, and 1,675 free counseling services were provided. So I just wanted to give everybody a little idea, and that's just a small snapshot of what you do for the community. We certainly appreciate it. We know everybody supports you, but we just want to make sure that this is a proclamation on behalf of the county council.
Councilman, if I may, Mr. Wagner's got a piece he's going to read for you, okay? Mr. Wagner, gentlemen.
Whereas on average, nearly 24 people per minute are physically abused by a partner in the United States, and whereas the Sexual Assault Spouse Abuse Resource Center, SARC, provided life-saving resources to 2,051 people last year, its 28-bed shelter provided 6,038 bed nights to 128 community residents. SARC's legal staff were successful in obtaining protective orders 83% of the time, and 1,675 free counseling sessions were provided. And whereas when a family member is abused, it can have a long-term damaging effect on the victim, which also leaves a mark on the family, friends, and the community at large. Domestic violence is a crime that violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and abuse. Victims should have help to find the compassion, comfort, and healing they need. And whereas Harford County government is joining forces with SARC and concerned citizens throughout Harford County to make a stand against domestic violence, we encourage those in need of support to call SARC's 24-hour help hotline at 410-836-8430. And we encourage Harford County residents to take a stand against domestic violence by participating in SARC's Domestic Violence Awareness Month events and by practicing the characteristics of healthy relationships among one's families and friends. Now, therefore, we, the County Council of Harford County, Maryland, on this 19th day of October 2021, do hereby proclaim October 2021 Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
All right.
So do you want to say a word?
They're going to sit and present, I think. I think so.
So
if you're ready. No? I thought they were going to present.
So again, would you like to say?
You are.
Just on behalf of the board of directors, the employees and volunteers that work for SARC, we appreciate this acknowledgement and proclamation. And I'd also personally like to thank the Harford County Council and Harford County government for their support. SARC has been an institution in Harford County for over 40 years, and we appreciate the support we get from everyone. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank everybody from the council for helping us with Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Awesome. Thank you guys for all you do.
Thank you for what you do. Yep,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too. Agenda item number 6, special presentation We have none. I thought we had one. Agenda number 7, approval of minutes, legislative day 21-026, October 12th, 2021. Are there any corrections to the minutes? There being no corrections to the minutes, they stand approved. Agenda item number 8, introduction and consideration of resolutions. We have none. Mr. Wagner, please read Bill 21-024 into the record for introduction, please.
Bill number 21-024, introduced by Council President Vincenti at the request of the county executive. An emergency act to renew a temporary moratorium on the application of certain provisions of Harford County zoning code related to setbacks, parking requirements, temporary uses, signs, outdoor storage, and display, and seating capacity with regard to uses that include nightclubs, bars, breweries, and restaurants, by the council October 19, 2021. Introduced, read first time, order posted, and public hearing scheduled on November 16th, 2021 at 7:15 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Schroeds, please read in Amendment 3 into the record for introduction.
Amendment 3, on title page in the 6th line of title paragraph, strike parentheses to require home occupation, parentheses, period.
Thank you, Mr. Schroeds. Mr. Kearney?
That's the amendment to Bill number 21-020.
Correct. So under agenda item number 10, introduction and consideration of amendments, due to the nature of this amendment, it will be considered this evening. Amendment number 3 to Bill 21-020. May I have a motion? Mr. Schroeds.
Council President, I make a motion to approve amendment number 3 to bill number 21-020.
Thank you. May I have a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Buell. It's moved and seconded to approve amendment number 3 to Bill 21-020. Are there any comments? Mr. Schroeds.
Yes, all this does is it mirrors the amendment from last week, and it takes out the requirement of home occupation on the title page of the bill.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Council President. In reference to this amendment, I feel that I'm greatly appreciative of Councilman Sherwood's taking out the owner occupancy requirement. However, this bill still, to me, keeps out jobs, investment, and tourism money outside of the county. And I don't know if this bill is going to be good for the entire bill. Is going to be good for the county. So, are we having discussion at this point?
I think that's what you're doing, yes.
Yeah. So if we're having discussion, do my council members feel that that this bill is gonna enhance the job opportunities and investment toward the community, or it's not? That's my question.
Mr. Schroeds.
Right now, just to clarify, this is just for this amendment. Once this is approved or denied, then we'll move into the bill right after this, where what you're talking about may be more appropriate. That's your call.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Again, anyone else for comments? Ms. Dixon.
Mr. President?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Giangiordano?
Aye.
Mr. Schroeds?
Aye.
Mr. Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Beulah?
Aye. Being 6 votes in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 1 absent. Amendment number 3 to Bill 21-020 is hereby approved. Agenda item number 11, call for final reading of bills. Bill 21-020, Farm Brewery Standards as amended. May I have a motion? Mr. Wagner.
Move for bill number 21-020, Farm Brewery Standards as amended.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Giangiordano. It's moved and seconded to approve Bill 21-020 as amended. Any comments? Mr. Wagner.
Bill number 21-020 was never about disallowing farm breweries or denying the enterprises that wanted to create and promote farm breweries. It was, however, a valid attempt to create compatibility and better ensure that the creation of a farm brewery venue was more in keeping with what the state and local legislation intended when it was created. These farm breweries were always intended to be a supplement to an existing legitimate farming operation. It is that marriage between what is clearly a commercial use and an agricultural zoning designation that has presented the need to reevaluate the guidelines. In all, I think our group worked together very well. It was a diverse and rational group. We tried to be fair in making recommendations that created the bill's language, though recommendations were suggested to be more permissive and some to be more stringent. The bill is modest and meets in the middle. I believe this bill, while not the perfect answer, provides a fair and equitable means of moving forward as other breweries want to be created. I would like to thank all those who dedicated their time and consideration in crafting Bill number 21-20. Thank you to the administration for its support in lending us the expertise and time of Jenny Jarkowski from the Director of Planning and Zoning as we finalized and clarified some of the language and the points. And I think in all, I think it did a good job in doing what it could do, as everything was already in motion prior to this. This just strengthened it a little bit and made it something that's more pleasing, more compatible, and something that I think we can live with going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Anyone else?
President, I think I said earlier what I wanted to say about this bill. I just think that it doesn't bode well for this county. The certain brewery has packed up and left the county. The investment to this county will greatly be depreciated, and the tourism dollars that come in for farm breweries will be deplenished. So with that, I don't think that I can support this bill at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Anyone else? Ms. Dixon?
Mr. President?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
No.
Mr. Jan Giordano?
Aye.
Mr. Schroeder?
Aye.
Mr. Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Beulah?
Aye.
There being 5 votes in affirmative, 1 negative, 1 absent, Bill 21-20 as amended is hereby approved. Thank you. Agenda item number 12, enrollment of bills, Bill 21-020 Farm Brewery Standards as amended is certified as being the text finally passed. 13, unfinished business, we have none. 14, new business, we have none. 15, business from the president. This past week, we had another Route 40 revitalization meeting at Water's Edge. It was on October the 14th. It was extremely well attended with over 50 stakeholders along the Route 40 corridor in attendance. Representatives from State Highway Administration, Maryland Department of Transportation, and MDOT were with us in attendance. And they were able to speak to some of the property owners that had some concerns from a meeting before, and they are willing to sit and talk in small groups to address the issues that were identified. We spoke about the Leading Edge Training Center at the Boys and Girls Club in Edgewood. We talked about the Aberdeen TOD train station and the update from there. We also talked about ENOD legislation in the Edgewood area. So it was a great, I think, meeting again, and we'll have another one at some point after the first of the year. And the purpose of that meeting, as I've said many times, is to bring our stakeholders and business owners together so that we can build on small successes. Not one of us has a silver bullet to bring the revitalization to that area that we need, but together I believe we can make leaps and bounds. So I appreciate everyone's participation in that meeting. I want to thank my council members that were there and look forward to the next meeting. And then finally, for myself, on a personal note, I want to wish my grandson, Jonathan, happy 18th birthday this coming weekend. Fantastic young man, looking forward to it. And with that, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank you for spearheading the revitalization. Like I said,